Welcome back, and surprise. So I'm going to review these four games now in between the first and second period between Minnesota and Vancouver, a game where one team has shown up. So we'll see if that storyline changes before that game's done, but I will review the Wild and the Canucks game by itself, and then its power rankings, and then I have the preview to do, the posts in the morning. So yeah, we're going to start things off talking about the Buffalo Sabres in against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Buffalo, of course, without Jeff Skinner, who was suspended 3 games. If you're wondering where a news video is, you may get a news video in between the second and third period between Minnesota and Vancouver. So, doing things a little differently today with the way that the games are scheduled. There just is no break where there's no hockey. Luukkonen versus DeSmith in this one. The Whites at home for Pittsburgh. I agree. I have always thought it's better for teams to wear. I know why they wear the darks at home. I know. I'm old and I remember when teams would wear the whites for their home jerseys. So early power play for the Penguins. Letang has a shot that hits Zucker. So that power play's killed off. Yeah, Letang back in the lineup, right? So the Pens go back to the power play. Malkin's denied, and then Raquel scores the power play marker from Malkin and Crosby at 4:22. The Sabres try to answer, however, at 6:51, Crosby doubles the lead. He scores from Gensel and Dumoulin. So the shots are 4-1 for Pittsburgh at 8.5 minutes. Keep in mind they beat Buffalo last night as well. Sabres get a power play that's killed off. The Penguins press with 5 minutes left. Sabres go back to the power play. Olofsson has a shot that's saved as it ends, and while the shots get close towards the end of the period, Pittsburgh makes sure the score doesn't. The score is still 2-0 after the first. Second period, 4 minutes in, the shots are 2-0 Pittsburgh. So again, really smart beginning for the Penguins. Bluger nearly has a break. Penguins press at 5.5 minutes. Krebs had a wraparound that was held. Peterka's denied on a 2-on-1. The Sabres press at 9 minutes. The shots are 4 apiece at the half. Middlestad fires one wide as the Sabres press. Thompson's then denied on a 3-on-2. Penguins press with 3.5 minutes left. Bluger was denied. Bluger was all over the ice tonight, but after 2 periods, it's still 2-0 Pittsburgh. Third period, Zucker's denied. A lot of Zucker all over the ice tonight, too. Luukkonen holds on. The shots are 3-2, though, for the Sabres at 2.5 minutes. Sabres came out and played really well in the third period. Zucker has a fast break shot. That's saved. Sabres get a power play. Penguins didn't let them set up. That's killed off. The fans call one, the referee doesn't. We know how that goes. Peterka passes on a rush. He should have shot. There was a lot of that tonight with the Sabres. One thing they could do is shoot the puck a little more. Some of these young players, Quinn, Peterka, both of them, and they stood out more than the others, but there are others as well that really need that confidence and need to take that shot. So Krebs would eventually, and he's one of the younger players, he gets his second goal from Okposo and Fitzgerald at 11 minutes. And then the Sabres look to tie it. So now the momentum is in favor of Buffalo. Glove save on a shot for Bryson. Cousins fans on one on a 3-on-2. And then Crosby. Yeah, Crosby makes it 3-1. He scores from Gensel and Rust at 18:22. He buries that one on a fast break. With 1:15 left, the Penguins ice the puck trying for an empty net goal. Buffalo had looks, but in the end they lose the game 3-1. Pittsburgh goes to 16-8-4 with the victory. Buffalo drops to 12-14-2 with the loss. The shots in this one, 12-9 Pittsburgh in the first, 12-10 Buffalo in the second, 17-9 Buffalo in the third. Final shots, 38-31 for the Sabres. Power plays, Buffalo 0 for 3, Pittsburgh 1 for 3. The hits, 43-38 for Pittsburgh. Luukkonen was good, 28 saves on 31 shots. DeSmith was fantastic, 37 saves on 38 shots. So not too bad, right? Next up, Calgary. Yep, the Flames in against the Maple Leafs. This was a fun one. Vladar versus Murray in this one. Two goaltenders who've been good stories so far this year, but tonight was not the game of the goaltender. Malgin tests Vladar in the opening shift. The Leafs had the early jump. Power play for Toronto. There's a shorthanded rush by Coleman. That was defended. Didn't get to the net. Goes the other way, and it goes in. It's Matthews on the power play from Nylander and Sandin at 5:04. And then the Leafs go right back to the power play. Calgary could not stay out of the box, and the Leafs power play was good. That being said, Tavares is denied in the slot. That power play in particular is killed off. Things get punchy as the Leafs are getting their third power play. It was Simmons that came in and actually evened it up. It was a 4-on-4 rather than a power play. And during the 4-on-4, Calgary scores. It's Hanifin on a rush from Huberdeau and Lindholm at 9:13. Hanifin's then denied on a 4-on-2. Hanifin had a great game. Leafs press with 8.5 minutes left, but they don't get shots out of it. Marner fires one high, and then Kadri. He scores from Dubé and Mangiapane at 12:52. He buried a loose puck there and did a little posing for the crowd because, Toronto knows Kadri. Then we get a power play with 3:19 left for Toronto because Calgary can't stop going to the box. And Nylander scores from Sandin and Marner at 17:10. We then had some pushing after a hold by Vladar, but after one period, it's 2-2. This is a pretty high-scoring game. Second period, things have changed a bit in that there's an early press by the Flames. Zadorov has a turnover chance that's held. Kadri has a rush pass that's intercepted. The shots are 4-2 though for the Flames at 5 minutes. So Toronto on their heels a little bit. Dubé's denied on a fast break. Then there's a near miss for Kerfoot as the Leafs press. But at 11 minutes and 11 seconds, Lewis puts the Flames in the lead from Backlund. The Flames then get a power play. There's a post for Mangiapane. That's killed off. And then Nylander would score from Matthews at 17-19. Deflects in. It's after a turnover. Nice turnover by Matthews. Gets it to Nylander. And no mistake there. So that makes it 3-3 after 2. Third period, Flames get a power play. Hanifin has a shot that goes in after the whistle. But it is continuation. So basically, Murray never had the puck. He didn't have it under control. So even though the whistle sounded, the puck never stopped moving, so the goal counts. It's Hanifin on the power play from Ruzicka and Mangiapane at 3:31. Toffoli then had a shot from the slot that deflects out. And then Bunting ties the game. His first goal at home, too, this season, from Matthews and Nylander at 6:10. The Flames then press at 8.5 minutes. The Leafs would get a power play because they spent most of the game on the power play, it seemed. There's a shorthanded rush by Mangiapane, which ends it. One shot for Toronto on that power play. And then the Leafs go back to the power play with 4:42 left. Man, that's killed off 3 shots. So we're going to overtime. At 3 seconds, the Leafs get a power play. You have to call that. These are stick fouls. You have to call them. And Marner would score to win it at 43 seconds from Nylander and Tavares. He buries a rebound. Nylander continues this remarkable streak he's been on. Your final score is 5-4 for the Toronto Maple Leafs in overtime. They go to 18-5-6. This is 14 games now since they've lost in regulation. For Calgary, they're 13-11-4 with the loss. That one's kind of tough after the loss last night against Columbus. You'll take the point, but if not for the penalty kill, they would have had 2. The shots, 9-6 Toronto in the first, 13-8 Calgary in the second, 14-7 Toronto in the third. Toronto had 3 shots in the overtime because they had the power play. Final shots, 34-26 Toronto. Power plays, Calgary 1 for 2, Toronto 3 for 6. So that's your difference right there. Hits, 34-29 Calgary. Vladar saves 29 out of 34, and Murray saves 22 out of 26. So entertaining game, yes. One that would cause gray hairs if you're a fan of either team, sure, but still entertaining nonetheless. Next up, LA in against Montreal. This one got really entertaining late, and I don't imagine that LA's coaching staff's happy about that. So it's Copley versus Allen. Copley has done well so far since the call-up. We'll see whether or not Peterson gets called up or if Copley just sticks around. So the Kings press, they're kept to the outside. Pitlick then had a rush chance that was saved. Danault is robbed on a turnover. The Habs would get a power play. Caulfield has a blasted save. The Kings clear it out. That was killed off. The shots are 4-3 for Montreal at 7 minutes. But on a turnover, you got to watch turnovers. At 9:34, it's Kopitar from Fiala, and so it's 1-0 for the Kings. And then at 9:53, on a rush, Arvidsson wires it from Danault and Anderson. So 2 goals in less than 20 seconds, and the Kings are up 2-0. Kaliev has a shot, glove save on that. The Habs are completely flat at this point in the game. The Habs get a power play. Slavkovsky fires one high as it comes to an end. Kaliev nearly scores as the Kings press, and the Habs in that final minute are just hanging on. Like, it was getting to the point where if that third goal had gone in, who knows? Anyways, third period. Early power play for the Kings. Kempe fires one wide. That's killed off. Habs in their own end, way too much between the end of that first period and the start of the second period. Grundstrom's denied and close. Gooley has a shot that's held. The Habs get a power play. Caulfield, he has a screen shot that's held. The Kings then get a power play because that Habs power play is unsuccessful, and the Kings power play is killed off as well. So a lot of power plays at this point in the game. Weidman has a shot held as the Habs press. The shots are 9-6 in favor of Montreal with 7.5 minutes left. Not a lot of shots after that, 1 for each team. Suzuki has a rush chance that's blocked, and he takes a penalty. It was a hook. They had to call that too. because it was a smart play, but I think it was Arvidsson that closed his arm on it. They're going to call that. And I know people don't like that, but yeah, it gets called. The referee can only call what he sees, right? Arvidsson fires one high. That power play is killed off. Suzuki then has a shot that's blocked as the Habs press to close things out. So it's still 2-0 after 2. Third period, Habs press at a minute and a half. And then an ozone penalty by Montreal gives the Kings the power play. You can't be doing that. But young team and all that, right? Kempe fires one wide. The Kings cycle. Arvidsson has a blast that saved. That power play is killed off. That is one weakness for LA tonight. Their power play was unsuccessful. Kings press after it ends. Caulfield scores. Did he? He thought he did. And the Kings said, no, he didn't. The ref thought maybe he did. The answer is, no, he didn't. So that one hit the post. And then on his first goal, and it's a fortunate goal, but Edler's credited with a goal, his first in 26 games from Lizotte at 9-12, which is fine. They all count just the same. So it's 3-0. The shots are 7-1 for the Kings with 9 minutes left. And then Montreal turns it on. First, it's Hoffman from Gouli and Dodonov at 11:41. Harris then has a blast that saved as the Habs press. Once they're only down by 2, you could see that they felt like, hey, we could come back in this. And then Caulfield at 17:32 from an impossible angle. I think he was going for a net feed. Copley didn't quite hug the post. It's one blemish on Copley's record tonight that he didn't quite hug the post, and there's just that one very little small area to get the puck in. Yeah, Caulfield found it. Harris and Dvorak with the assists. So yeah, Caulfield will take that, and that makes it 3-2. They would pull the goaltender, which allows Kempe to hit the empty net at 19:24. I believe it was Hoffman with the turnover there. So your final score is 4-2 for the Kings. They survive a little bit of a scare at the end. They go to 15-11-4 with the win. Montreal wearing their beautiful Montreal Expo reverse retros. 13-12-2 on the season now. The shots 16-5 LA in the first, 10-7 Montreal in the second, 12-7 LA in the third. Final shots 35-22 for LA. Power plays, the Kings 0 for 4, Montreal 0 for 3, and the hits 24-15 for Montreal. Copley 20 saves on 22 shots. Allen saved 31 out of 34. So both goaltenders played well. And again, I think Copley has put up good numbers since the recall. I think that takes the pressure off Peterson. He can take a little bit of time because the LA Kings are still finding their way to get points. All right, last one on this board and last one for this video is Carolina in against the Islanders. This game finished before that one. This game started half an hour before that one, and yet this game finished first. This was a very fast game. Somebody on Discord mentioning to my wife that the period they timed it was 26 minutes for the entire second period. So it's Kochetkov versus Sorokin in this one. Early jump for the Canes, and often for the Canes. They would press at 3 minutes. Clutterbuck was then robbed from the slot. Islanders get a power play. It then becomes a minute and 16 seconds of 5-on-3. Becomes a 4-on-3 when the Islanders take one, so it's a bit of a parade at this point in the period. Nelson has a blast that's held. Everything's killed off. The shots are only 4 apiece at the half, considering all the overlapping penalties. That's pretty good for both defenses. Canes get another power play. Sorokin, absolute heroics, ends up killing it off. 4 shots for the Canes on that, but it's scoreless after 1. Then we get into a really fast period of hockey. Second period, early press by the Canes. The Islanders ice it. They can't change during that, but they managed to survive that. Canes, penalty behind the Islanders' net. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to take a penalty in the offensive zone, and there it is again. Strong kill, though, bails them out. No shots for the Islanders on that power play. The shots are only 2-0 for Carolina at 5 minutes, so not bad. Stastny has a tip shot that's covered. Svechnikov with a near miss. The Canes are controlling, and it's Stastny that opens the scoring. His first goal is a Cane, first goal this season, from Svechnikov and Shea at 7:06. And then the Canes press for another. They're up 1-0. Now they got the momentum as well. 7 shots for the Islanders halfway through this game. That's it. 30 minutes in, there's 7 shots for the Islanders. So they would get more than 7 shots in the second half, but not very many more. So, pressed by the Islanders with 9 minutes left. Jarvis wasn't on the bench. Looked like he got hurt. He would return to the game, though. Kotkaniemi has a shot that saved the Canes with some momentum. There was an exchange of rushes with 2 minutes left. But after that second period, it's 1-0 Carolina. But it felt like it was more than 1-0 because the Islanders really weren't generating very much. So third period, the Canes press early, and eventually it's Kotkaniemi who scores from Burns and Natchez at 4:05. That was on a face-off win by Natchez. And Burns with the assist there, and Kotkaniemi with, I think that's his third or fourth goal. Jarvis nearly adds another, and then Stahl does at 8:49. He scores from Martinook and Nason. He buries that one in close. Really nice play by Nason to get the puck in the offensive zone. Their forechecking tonight was very solid. Then there's a post for Kotkaniemi. As the shots are really in favor of the Canes, it was 12-5 with 7.5 minutes left. Remember, the Islanders are at home. They're wearing their fisherman jerseys. This isn't an endorsement for the fisherman jerseys, clearly. Not that the jerseys have any effect on how a team plays, right? Svechnikov then fires one high. It's all Canes, and it finishes out with a 3-0 score for Carolina. So the Road Warriors continue 15-6-6 with this win tonight. So they've had a lot of overtime losses over their last 11, but they've only lost one in regulation over their last 11. For the Islanders, they're 17-12 on the season with this loss. The shots in this one, 9-7 Carolina in the first, 7-3 Carolina in the second, 13-6 Carolina in the third. Final shots, 29-16 for the Canes. Power plays, Carolina 0-2, Islanders 0-3, all basically in that first period. And your hits, 26-19 for the Islanders. Kochetkov, 16 saves for his second career shutout, both of them this season. And Sorokin with 26 saves on 29 shots. Not too shabby by Sorokin, but he didn't have any goal support. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.